Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture what we will do is that we will design the logic behind this BMI calculator application. So what we need to do now is that we basically need to go ahead and get a reference to these particular edit text and the text view inside the Java code right here. So we already have this button click method, so we are going to use the same method. And one thing which you do need to make sure is that to this particular button you need to add the on click. Basically whenever we click this button, the code inside this button click method is going to get executed. So I'm going to go into this button tag and I'm going to type in on click is equal to button clicked. So basically when the user clicks this button, the code inside this is going to get executed. So inside this code, the main intent is to basically get the text from these two edit text, that is the weight and height. And once we have the weight and height, we could go ahead and calculate the BMI. So what we will do is that first we will get a reference to both of the edit text. So we type edit text and let's name this edit text as edit text weight. Or let's say we get the height first, so that is going to be edit text for height equals, and typecast it to edit text, and then use the find view by id method. So find view by id r.id dot the user's height. So we get the user's height from here, then let's get the user's weight. So that is going to be edit text that is going to be weight equals, and typecast it by using edit text, then type in find view by id r.id dot and the user's weight. So once you get the reference to both the weight and height, the next thing which you need to do is that you also need to get a reference to the text view, which is this text view right here. And what you could do is that to get the reference to this text view, you type in text view, and let's name this thing as text view result, as this is going to display the result. This equals text view and find view by id r.id dot, and the id of that particular text view is user BMI. So you simply reference that over here. So once we have reference to each of these things, the next thing which you could do is that you could go ahead and get the entered value by the user. So the first thing which you need to have is that you do need to have variables in place to basically get those values. So what you do is that you create variables of the type double. So let me just type double, and the first thing which we get is that we get the height. So we type height equals, and we get the height from this particular edit text, that is edit text height. So we type edit text height dot get text dot to string. Now one thing to note here is that the value which we get from this particular code, which is this code right here, is going to be a string value, and this variable right here is a double variable. So what you need to do now is that you do need to convert the string value into double. So for that purpose we will cut this code and type in double dot parse double. So parse double is actually a method which basically converts any value to a double value. So once you pass this previous code to this particular method, which is the parse double method, it's actually going to pass the result to a double value, which is later going to be stored in the height variable. And the same thing is applicable for the weight as well. So you type double weight, and that is going to be double dot parse double, and inside here we will have edit text weight dot get text dot to string. Okay, so once we have the height and weight values, we could now go ahead and calculate the BMI. So you could type in double BMI equals, and the formula for BMI is weight divided by height squared. So we will type in weight here divided by height into height. So once this thing is done, we are pretty much good to go. Now the only thing which you need to do is that you basically need to attach this value to the text view, which is the text view result. So what we do is that we type in text view result dot set text, and now we need to set the text to the BMI value, but the thing is that the BMI value is actually present in a form of a double, so you do need to convert that double into a string. So you type double dot toString, and in here you could pass in the value of BMI. So we'll type in BMI over here, and we are basically good to go. So once this thing is done, let me check the layout once, and we have added the button click on click as well. So we are basically good to go, and you could basically go ahead and change the text to, let's say, BMI. And once this thing is done, you're pretty much good to go. So let me just save this code and run this app on my device and check how this thing actually works. So I'm going to save the code and run this application on my device and see how it works. So as you could see, the application is up and running on my device, and let me enter my weight, which is 75, and let's say my height is 2 meters. So you do need to make sure that you have to enter the height in meters and the weight in kilograms. So when I hit calculate BMI, as you could see, my BMI comes around 18.75, which appears to be correct. So we have successfully built the BMI calculator. So that's it for this lecture, and I hope you guys were able to understand how we built this BMI calculator in Android. So what you could do is that you could make the layout better than what I have done over here, and the main reason for not designing the layout in a better way is because I just wanted to give you a brief idea about how a simple app can be built in Android. And to better design these layouts, what we have to do is that we have to learn about the different types of layout in the Android. So in the next lecture, what we will do is that we will start learning about the different types of layout and how they could be used to design our application in a much more better way. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.